Hi everybody, this is Duke Bond with CCT. Thank you for taking the time today to join us for our webinar regarding enabling outbound calling within your Avaya call center. With me today is Stefan Schneider, one of our senior solutions engineers, and we're going to go through a little bit of background on CCT to begin with and ContactPro, and a little bit about our outbound solution. I'm going to go through a little bit of background on the capabilities in general, and then I'm going to turn things over to Stefan to take you through a demo. There is the ability to submit questions through the GoToWebinar console, and we will try to get you answers back as quickly as we can. Again, thanks for joining us today, and hopefully this information is useful and helpful. CCT is an Avaya DevConnect partner, and we really focus around the Avaya Call Center Elite Contact Center platform. What we do is omni-channel enable that call center to make it a true call center. And when we talk about omni-channel, it's really about multi-channel enablement combined with CRM integration. And what that means is that no longer do I get a screen pop when I get a voice call. I also get a screen pop when I get an email or a web chat or an outbound call. Today's session is going to be really focused around outbound, but just for a few minutes up front, I want to kind of give you the broader perspective of the full set of capabilities that are part of the ContactPro solution. So handling of email and web chat is definitely a part of the solution. And we welcome the opportunity to discuss with you if you want to talk about our email, web chat, SMS types of interactions. Social media interactions is another contact channel that organizations can utilize to communicate with their customers. But as I stated, today is really focused around outbound campaigns and outbound kind of callbacks. Callbacks can occur in many different scenarios. It could be an inbound call where the customer suddenly in the middle of the call decided, it's like, hey, I've got to drop the call right now. Can you all call me back this afternoon at 3 o'clock? So we have a capability that allows agents to schedule that callback. It could also be a callback that's requested from a website or a mobile phone application, or it could be a callback that is requested even when a caller is in queue when expected wait time is too high. So that's all kind of part of that outbound capability set that we'll discuss today. But when you look at the omni-channel, it's about fusing and integrating all of these interaction channels together from a seamless unified agent workspace. As I mentioned, our integration is really focused around the Call Center Elite platform, but we can also integrate with Oceana. When there's more market demand, we will continue to grow our integration on the Oceana front, but right now it's really just the ability to integrate Oceana routed voice calls with the same kind of email, web chat, outbound types of calling with inbound Oceana calls. CCT, we've got many customers that have, over 1,000 agents. And we were the Avaya Global DevConnect Partner of the Year a couple of years ago. So we're very tightly integrated with Avaya, very much in tune with what they're doing from a product roadmap perspective, and we try to ensure that what we build is complementary to the Avaya portfolio. What you will see today, a major portion of it will be around the unified agent workspace of ContactPro. That agent workspace, that's where agents, that's where they do their state control and call control. That's where they log in, log out, go ready, not ready. That's also where they do their call control, answer, release, transfer, conference, make calls. Those are all the capabilities. Those are some of the capabilities that you're going to do from an agent desktop. Those are probably the most common things that you're going to be doing from the agent desktop. But within an omni-channel workspace, you have to be able to jump around between different contacts that you're currently handling. Typically, you'll only be handling one voice call at a time, but you could be handling multiple voice calls. And through our work list, you can jump back and forth between the different calls that you are currently handling. But you also may be handling multiple emails and chats and SMS messages concurrently. And you obviously can only really be truly working on one at a time. So you have to jump back and forth, and through the work list, you choose which one is the current active task that you're working on. Through our agent workspace, that's where the CRM integration occurs, well, that's one area where CRM integration occurs. There's other ways and other capabilities for CRM integration, but a big part of it is at the agent workspace. And a big part of that integration is screen pop and also the journey mapping of every customer interaction, whether it's a voice call, whether it's an email, whether it's a chat. I want to log that customer interaction into my customer journey map. And ideally, you would not just log that information into our journey map database, but we would, recommend that we write that information back into your CRM. It's when you fuse your CRM data with the interaction history, that's when you can begin to do some truly insightful analytics, such as pull me a list of all the customers that have spent more than $10,000 lifetime, but I've had no interaction within the last year. That might be a very useful kind of analysis of your data in your CRM that would allow you to go in and pull a list of who should be on our outbound calling campaigns for next week or next month. So it's really important that you tie that customer journey with your CRM data. In addition to the screen pop and the journey map, we can also integrate into the CRM for the actual agent handling of the call. So one of the things you'll see today is our workflow scripting tool that the agent can use to help guide them through a call. That scripting tool can be integrated into a back-end CRM to help guide that agent, to provide that agent the information that they need, put it at their fingertips, as opposed to them having to go in and search for the information inside the CRM. Put it right there at their fingertips. Make it easy for them to provide customer service quickly and consistently. Through the desktop, you can also do shortcuts and speed dials and things like that to make that agent more efficient. A big focus of our workspace is to make the agent efficient at what they are doing. If you make the agent efficient at what they're doing, the customer is going to be happier, because at the end of the day, the customer is going to largely measure your how well you did as an agent. How quickly did you get done the things that I want you to do? And the longer it takes me as an agent to do those things, the less satisfied I'm going to be as a customer. So thus, our big focus is to help that agent do their job more quickly and efficiently. And keystrokes, speed dials, things like that, being able to extend my agent workspace across multiple screens, where I can undock some of the widgets or windows inside of my application, that helps that agent to be able to see more information and put it at their fingertips. I can integrate a phone directory into the environment, so if I need to frequently transfer calls or consult with some knowledge workers in my organization, I can put that information at my fingertips. I can also instant message and see the phone presence of other individuals in my organization, whether it's an agent or a knowledge worker in the back office. I might want to be able to communicate with those people quickly, so again, I can be efficient in the handling of a customer interaction. And ideally, you want to try to provide that customer interaction in such a way that you don't have to transfer. Once you transfer an interaction, that first call resolution is one of the key statistics of customer satisfaction. As soon as you have to transfer, it's going to instantly take a little bit longer. But if you do transfer, it's important that CRM data and CTI data transfer with that call, so that the second agent doesn't have to ask the caller, who are you and why did I get this call transferred to me? All that information should be passed through, and that's part of the integrated CTI infrastructure that we provide. You can also have response templates in the agent desktop to help agents be consistent. You can think of it as a knowledge base. If desired, we also support the ability to allow co-browse. There's a number of different applications that we can utilize to integrate with, so that an agent and a customer can browse a web page together. We could also incorporate video from, for instance, a mobile phone device. Think about if I'm an auto insurance organization and I just had a customer call in making a claim about an auto accident. I might want that customer right then and there. It's like, hey, can you turn on your mobile video and kind of show me what the accident scene looks like? We can incorporate that into the agent desktop very easily. For those organizations with agents that frequently move around and possibly work from remote offices, it might be valuable for them to have a fully fledged media termination soft phone, meaning I don't have to have an Avaya phone sitting on my desktop. I can work from home and I can just enable the audio functionality within my computer, just like I'm doing right now with this webinar. I am communicating through my, speaker and microphone in my PC. We also have some embedded reporting for the agent so that they can see how much time they spent in different aux states, how much time they spent talking, putting calls on hold, things like that. They can also see a call log so that maybe if they need to jump back and see a certain caller that called earlier that got disconnected, they can see the phone numbers and make it easy for them to reach back out to those customers. And then through the agent desktop, if I do go into an aux mode or something like that, that's where you're going to put in your aux code. That's also where at the end of calls, you're going to enter wrap-up code. So you'll see some of these things in the demo today. We wanted to give you a highlight of some of the main features of the agent workspace. Sometimes you have to kind of hear things and then see them for it to sink in a little bit more. A big part of the functionality around our Outbound is the ability to integrate with Avaya's Proactive Outreach Manager, otherwise known as POM, P-O-M. POM is Avaya's, high volume dialer. It supports predictive, progressive, and preview dialing. It could also be, IVR type dialing, where an outbound campaign, it's calling someone to, for instance, maybe remind them of a past due balance and giving them the option of making a payment. But somewhere through, I could also enable that customer to press 0 to transfer out of that IVR. Even though it's an outbound call, the customer can still press 0. I transfer that call over to an inbound agent and I pop a screen with that information. So even though that's not really an agent-based campaign transferring, receiving that call, it can, an agent can handle both normal inbound calls and outbound calls in a blended fashion. POM takes care of that blending for you by watching the inbound queue states, and it has rules where you define when do I shut down outbound dialing to focus more on inbound. And when my inbound queues are low or there is no queue, then I increase my outbound dialing rate so that I keep my agents highly utilized. In the call center, agent utilization, as you know, that's one of your most important measurement sticks of effectiveness. You want to keep those agents busy because that's an expensive resource that's sitting there idle otherwise. When contacts are delivered to agents, whether it's a preview, predictive, or even a progressive type of call, we're going to pop an agent screen into, there's a little panel that you'll see where some basic information about the caller name and their phone number and maybe why we're calling today. But we can also separately pop into your CRM, and that CRM can sit and reside inside of the agent workspace, or it can be outside of the workspace. And I'll show just one quick glimpse in a moment of the CRM sitting inside. But again, it could be an external browser that we're popping or an external thick client application. Every CRM integration is done a little bit differently. Some are easier to do than others, but that's part of the implementation process, is to figure out how to integrate with your CRM environment. The screen pop happens at the beginning of the call. At the end of the call, we want to write that activity record back to the CRM like I talked about previously. As I mentioned, POM does the blending of the inbound and outbound. ContactPro, the agent, is just going to be the recipient of contacts that are delivered to them, whether that contact is coming from POM or whether that contact is coming from the inbound ACD. The agent workspace is going to respond to that call similarly. I'm going to have the same scripting tool available to me. I'm going to have the same, I'm going to have the same kind of screen pop and journey mapping happening, whether it's an inbound or an outbound call. You'll see in the demo that if it's a preview call, there's a timer on how long the agent has to click the button to actually launch that outbound call. POM supports the do not call list, and the agent can also submit notes. All of this is part of the integration with POM. You can also schedule callbacks, and POM will manage those callbacks. As I mentioned, we have workflow scripting to allow that agent to go through that interaction, and that workflow, that scripting can be integrated with your CRM if you want, or it can just be some basic guidance around the flow that you want that agent to follow and to make sure that they ask all the appropriate questions. At the end of the day, you also have reporting around the agent activity. So you can see how many calls that agent has handled, and if some of those calls are inbound and some are outbound, you can see both of those in a consolidated kind of report. and they'll be, they'll be laid out so you can see inbound versus outbound. You see both. To complement the Palm integration, we've also developed our own preview outbound dialing capability. And what's nice is that this doesn't require Palm. So if you, for instance, are an organization where maybe you've got a couple of hundred calls a day that need to be made, and you want agents to work on that call list as time permits. When the inbound call volumes are low, let's work on some outbound calls that need to be done. So you can import that call list daily, and then our ContactPro configuration will naturally blend that inbound, naturally blend your outbound calling with the current statistics and the current handling of inbound calls. Just like with the Palm, just like with inbound, we're also going to provide the CRM integration for screen pop scripting and for journey mapping. Those callbacks, these callbacks, they can be scheduled callbacks, or they can just be, call as soon as an agent is available. And those callbacks can happen from multiple different scenarios. It could be somebody on a website, or it could be somebody, on a mobile phone app, or it could be, an agent that's actually requesting for the callback. I apologize. I had a cat in the background that was very excited. So the nice part about the preview outbound dialing with ContactPro is that I don't need to have the Palm dialer. The Palm dialer is a great dialer, especially if you need to do some high volume predictive dialing. Predictive dialing allows you to really increase agent utilization because the agent is not occupied for calls that result in ring no answers and busies and answer machines. You can shield the agent from that lost productivity by putting in an outbound dialer, a Palm outbound dialer, but there's a significant cost that goes along with that. So typically organizations aren't going to put in Palm unless they have a large enough, calling list and campaign needs. This I see is a better fit for when I want to, again, I've got a small list of calls to current customers. So current customers, you maybe don't want to put them into an outbound predictive campaign because you don't want to annoy them with a nuisance call when there's not an agent available in a predictive campaign. You want to maybe do preview campaigns to your existing customer base, kind of just warm, friendly reminders and things like that. So that's a nice part about preview, because with preview, the agent is reserved and allocated first before the call is actually made, and the agent is on the line guaranteed to be there when that customer answers. Like with inbound and Palm outbound, we also support the multi-level wrap-up. We support activity reporting. We support reporting both from a calling perspective, but also from an agent, state perspective. How much time do they spend ready, not ready? We're tracking all of that activity in the ContactPro Analytics database, and then that'll be served up through ContactPro Analytics reports. For the importing of call lists, we have a simple way for bulk importing those call lists, but it could also be done through a web service. So if you have a need on your website, click to talk with an agent. We can receive that event in real time, put that into a queue, and assign that task to an agent. And you can make that as high priority as you want, so that they immediately get assigned that call task, and they click a button, and that outbound call is made for a web callback. If it's a scheduled callback and the customer says, call me at 4 o'clock, again, we're going to assign that task to an agent at 4 o'clock or just seconds afterwards, and we're going to give that high priority to make sure that callback, that scheduled callback, is occurring when it's, when it was requested. That callback can be done from a very specific agent, or it can be done from any agent that qualifies through a queue and the skill set, a skill match. So agents have, or you have when you're importing, the ability to match it to a specific agent, or whether it's just going to a general queue. As I mentioned, we have an agent scripter. You'll see that in the demonstration today, so I'm not going to go through this piece here. Just wanted to highlight again the scripting piece that can be added for outbound calling, but it can also equally, and be just as beneficial for inbound calling. And then here's just kind of a quick screenshot of where we're doing Salesforce integration inside ServiceNow, BMC integration, ServiceNow integration inside of our ContactPro Unified Agent Workspace. But that CRM integration could be done external to the agent application, and you could make that agent application smaller or make other modules present in the foreground of the agent desktop and have the CRM maybe on a second screen and a separate browser tab. So you have a lot of flexibility on how you want that to occur. As I mentioned, ContactPro Analytics is the reporting element of our solution. That's where the reporting will be served up. It's a browser-based reporting solution. It does both real-time and historical reporting, and it's for both agents and queuing. And we could also incorporate other data sources through some customization, or we can export our data to like a data warehouse. So there's a lot of flexibility around the reporting. Just wanted to kind of give a snippet of a flavor of what ContactPro Analytics looks like. ContactPro Manager is our browser-based administration portal. That's where you manage the environment and agent skills and things like that. With that, I'm going to turn things over to Stefan to kind of walk you through a quick demo. And let me find Stefan here so I can make him presenter. That's not right.
I did it, Duke. I'm now the presenter. So hello to everybody. I will present you now a short live demonstration of our ContactPro client. Main focus in this short session, in this webinar, is on the outbound piece, as Duke already mentioned. So first step is we will have an integration with the Avaya Proactive Outreach Manager, showing you an outbound contact handling as well as the blending with inbound voice contacts. And then we will switch to the second piece, the integrated ContactPro outbound functionality. And then finally, we will have a short view about the scripting tool, how you can create your personal scripts related to outbounds. So I'm running my ContactPro client now in full screen. I won't go into any details of the functionalities because we have quite a lot. That's something that is already shown in other webinars and sessions. So I'm focusing on the outbound piece now. I'm working as an omni-channel agent. Currently, I'm working with an email, and I will now also set the POM part to ready to receive POM calls in the client. So the POM system, the Avaya POM, will assign me one contact. In this case, it's a contact from a campaign with the type preview, meaning we have the preview timer here. So a preview time is set pretty high that I can demonstrate with 5 minutes. Of course, everything configurable. And of course, our ContactPro solution does support all the 3 different types of campaign management from the Avaya POM. So we support the preview functionality as well as progressive and the predictive. And of course, with progressive and predictive, I don't have a preview time here in the preview so far. On the right side of my POM tab, I have my script I can use with the customer. We support different types of scripts here. We have the embedded Avaya POM native script that we can show in this view. We have the possibility to show external URLs, which means we can also embed an external scripting tool if there's one available on the customer side, or like in our example here, I have a script that we just get from our ContactPro scripting solution, and I will just go through the script while I'm on the phone with the customer so far. On the left side, I have various information. So I have information about the customer itself, names, everything that is part, and that's very important on this POM piece. Most of the information is coming from the POM configuration in the background. So I have my contact lists, everything that is inside the contact list, custom fields, all this stuff is shown in our client. I have contact information, so which campaign, can I cancel, can I dial, can I reschedule, everything that can be configured individually per campaign can be shown, of course, in the client, but also disabled to view because some of them probably might not make sense for an agent in this case. I can also make some notes. These notes are directly attached to the contact for later lookup so far, and I have also the possibility to set a callback. So I can select the contact number. I can select a callback type. So we have 3 different types available as a callback. I can set the callback to myself, so personally. I can set the callback back to the campaign. So when the callback is ready, it will just assign to the next available agent. And the standard one is the configuration based on the campaign so far. And of course, if I select one, I have a possibility to select the campaign or an agent. And these things can be configured so far based on availability. Then I set my callback date time, the expiry time. I can enter some notes, and then I can create the callback so far. So I will now start this call to the customer. Just to mention before I started, there is an optional functionality with, especially or only with preview, that the agent could have the possibility to cancel this preview contact. But this is something, of course, that can also be configured through a property management that we deliver, because our approach on the ContactPro solution is that we try to make it as flexible as possible, that our customers can configure the buttons, the functionalities, the best way they want to use it. So I will start now the call. Call is ringing on my phone here, on the customer phone, and I can accept it. On the right side, you see always the current status. So it was dialing with the ringing, then we have now a talking state, and always also showing the time spent in the status so far. And you also see on the right, on the top, we have some graphical statistics. We also have them in a tabular view about the current live contact, meaning how much time did I spend or already spend with this active contact. And there are some thresholds that can be configured to show it in green, yellow, and red. So in this case, I already reached the 120 seconds, which is the threshold for red, and that's why I'm already in the red state so far. Coming back to my contact, I have now soft phone functionalities to hold the call, retrieve the call. I can end the call. I have the possibility to do a consultation, meaning if I click on the consultation, I get a small pop-up window where I can select a transfer destination or a conference destination. So I can select either if I want to contact an internal POM agent for my transfer or conference, or just select an external phone number I can type in, and as soon as I click on consult, I can then later on either cancel, transfer, or start the conference, depending on my needs. Finally, I have also the possibility to use the DNC functionality of the POM system. DNC is do not call. So as soon as I click on this DNC, add to DNC list, this phone number will be added to the global do not call list so far, which means it will not be used for campaigns, other campaigns dialing this number so far. Coming back to my contact I'm talking to, so I have now the ability to use my embedded script in the client. So this script is related to insurance. So I'm asking the customer if he's interested in an insurance. Yes, he is. So I click on OK. And you see with every question, it will just switch to the next question. And you will see later on that this is a flexible system. Depending on the answer the customer gives and I enter here, I could jump to different questions inside the script. So I want to have a home insurance, and later on I can also select the car insurance, and then I'm gone. So a pretty simple script. The good news is we have both options implemented in our solution. So we have, I would call it the simple script functionality to create questions, answers, and jump points. as well as to have the ability for developing teams of the customer to use JavaScript to create complex scripts with database lookups, external lookups, CRM, whatever that can be embedded in these scripting tools so far. So now I've finished my contact. I will just end the call with the customer, and you see on the bottom side of the client the reason codes window gets active. I have the timed after call work here, so I see how much time I have left to enter a disposition code. I have the possibility to extend the after call work if the campaign allows it. So based on the campaign configuration, it could be that I can extend it once, twice, unlimited. So if I click on extend, it will just extend once. I can do it twice, and I think, no, it's unlimited here so far. So that's how I can extend my after call work, but always based on the configuration per campaign so far. So while I'm still in the after call work, in parallel, I started in the background an inbound call, which I have also the skills to. So I want to demonstrate you now how the blending between POM and the Avaya Aura inbound world works. So I would now select my my completion code. I will click on OK, and you see on the top in the work list I have currently my email. I have my outbound contact from the preview campaign, and now if I click on OK, the next contact you see is an incoming ACD call from Q, because in our example we have implemented the functionality that with the threshold of one waiting call, the system will automatically blend to inbound, meaning as soon as I have one or more calls waiting in the skill POM blend test, it will then switch to the inbound, and that's all done by the POM API we have implemented in our client solution to then deliver either inbound or outbound so far. With this inbound contact, just another example, because Duke already mentioned our CRM integration. So we have, of course, I would call it the classic screen pop functionality, where we just push one value to the CRM and that's it. In this example, and that's an example with Microsoft Dynamics, but the backend system doesn't matter, because as long as there is an API we have the ability to connect to, we can use this. In this example with Microsoft Dynamics, we do a lookup of the phone number, of the incoming phone number of the customer. And what happened is that the CRM system returned that there are two customers with this phone number. So we have 5023. System did a lookup of 5023 and figured out it's on Stefan Schneider with a mobile phone, and on Steven Musterman it's on 53 business phone. So I have now the ability, instead of popping immediately the CRM, I can identify which of these two customers this is, and with a simple double click I can then open the embedded CRM system, in this case Microsoft Dynamics, to get a landing page inside the CRM to the right customer. So I would say an enhanced functionality of the screen pop. But of course, this can work in different ways, like the customer wants their solution. And this, what you see, the screen you see now is not only a view screen; it is a full working CRM script. So I can just enter data, mutate data, so edit data, delete data, and so on. So work fully inside a CRM system or knowledge system or ticketing system, and I'm still working in one agent portal solution. So now I'm finished with my inbound call. I will just end this inbound call. So I have after call work also configured with 5 seconds, and after these 5 seconds I will be set back to available in this case, and then the system will decide again, do I get an inbound or an outbound call? As there is no more calls waiting, I receive an outbound call from the POM campaign again. I will put myself now to an aux state. So the org state is set. It's pending because I'm still working on this outbound contact. And just to finish up, I will just cancel this preview. I will enter a reason code to finish the demonstration of the POM functionality. So I will now end the POM feature here, and we'll just go back to another button in the client with the ContactPro Outbound. The ContactPro Outbound itself is, I would call it, a simple solution to make either preview outbound calls or to implement callback functionality into your system, meaning I have my outbound lists like in the POM that I can use for the preview, but I can also use these outbound lists and fill them either from an external application. So one option is that through the Avaya Aura and the Experience portal, we just ask the customer, do you want to create a callback? And if he says yes, we will just send a web service request to our solution that will set this request with the ANI of the caller. The second option is that we will provide web API that can be embedded on the customer website and the customer mobile app, which allows a customer on the phone or on the browser to select the callback when he wants to be called by the contact center so far. Everything is then part of this outbound functionality of this channel. I will just enable it because I don't want to run POM and outbound in parallel. And then if I go to available, I get an assignment of an outbound contact. I can also define a script for this outbound contact. In this case, it's a pretty simple script. I have the information I want to show to the agent. So it's an outbound call, queue name, customer number, and the possible available phone numbers. And very important, this script can be 100% customized by the customer needs so far. And as I said, there is a simple design I will just show later on, and there is a complex design that can be used going deep into JavaScript functionality so far. So I have my information, I click on OK, and then I have the possibility to move on with the script. I just have a short delay. So I have the option now to either call this phone number or defer. So I can also click on OK to defer this contact, which will open a small window where I can select, do I want to defer this to the queue? Do I want to defer this to the agent? And these are options with date time, so I have still possibilities to work with this outbound contact. It's just that I'm having a small delay in my client. I guess probably because of the sharing of the full screen. So this is the option I have. I can just defer it, make some notes, and then this one will be displayed in my private work list so far. Let me just close a few tabs here. So now I have inside my private work list, you see these 3 different outbound calls with my notes, with a create date, and very important, we have also implemented a scheduled date, because it could be that you want to bring this contact back to queue. So if an agent defers it, it has a maximum defer date, and after this, it will go back to queue and will be assigned to another contact who has the skill for this outbound queue so far. So I will just bring one of them back into the client just to finish this. So I will do a right click. I do retrieve of this contact. I will click on yes. I will say I will call the number. So it starts the call now. I can then either drop the call through the subphone buttons or inside the script, and then I have the possibility to enter disposition code like we saw it in the POM functionality so far. So that's basically the two options in a very short time shown. On the one hand, the integration of the Avaya POM with its functionalities for preview, progressive, and predictive campaigns. On the other side, the ContactPro Outbound used for preview functionality as well as for callback. And as I mentioned, I will just bring in now the management view. This is an example of the script that I just used inside the ContactPro for outbound. So first thing is we show the work item information, we get the next outbound number, we do make call, end call, select, wrap up. So pretty simple, and you see that with these A2, A4, A5, we have a possibility to jump to different questions, to different next items based on the decision made on this questions form. And this is available in this style. So I have per row my question, but we have also the possibility to visualize this. So this is the example we saw before. That's the insurance example that I just presented in combination with the POM. So you see also all these steps, the entry point with are you interested in another insurance so far, and then yes, no, you see all these different ways my script can go so far. So this should just give a rough overview about the outbound functionalities we provide with ContactPro. And now I will hand over back to Duke.
Thanks, Stefan. Give me 1 second here to share one last slide, and then we will wrap up. So thanks everybody for joining today. Again, I think that what we have at CCT is a really nice solution for adding some outbound functionality. Again, I like the option that an agent can, in the middle of a call, if the customer says, can you all call me back tomorrow at 3 o'clock or call me back later today because I have to go right now. Sometimes you call into a call center and it just takes too long. You had to wait in queue too long, and then the agent transferred you around a couple times. They're like, hey, can you guys just call me back tomorrow at 2 o'clock? I know I'll be ready at that time. That's a nice capability. I think enabling a web callback button within your mobile phone apps or from within your web, your web portal is really important to allow customers that flexibility. And it could also be allowing callbacks from queue. I'm sorry, expected wait time is currently greater than 20 minutes. Press 1 if you'd like to schedule a time to have us call you back. These are all possibilities that can be done in addition to uploading a list. And that list can be, a couple hundred, or it could be a couple thousand contacts. But it would be, again, it's preview dialing. That's a nice piece. But then if you want the high volume kind of dialing, the integration with POM is a nice component. So this complements the other elements of the multi-channel handling that we allow. Obviously the inbound voice can be blended in, but agents, as you saw, can be handling email, they could be handling web chats, they could be handling SMS messages, it could be a Facebook Messenger message, it could be a Twitter direct messaging integration. Agents can handle all of those interactions and they can jump back and forth handling them, or they can be routed different ones at different times of the day based upon the demands. Regardless of the interaction channel, I'm still also going to be able to do that CRM integration for the screen pop, the journey mapping. Those things are important, not just for inbound voice calls, but for outbound calls and every interaction channel, email, chat, SMS. I want that screen pop. I want that journey mapping so that I have a full history of every customer interaction. With that, I will close things up here today. I do again appreciate everybody joining. Hopefully this was helpful and informative. I'm going to just jump real quickly back to the front that if you want to reach out to me, I'm sure you've already got my email address and phone number, but I look forward to having the opportunity to speak with you. Thanks everybody and have a great day.